All right, sorry about that. Love to hear a bit more about you and how I can help.
Sure. So I am Pranay. So I am co-founder at a company called SigNoz. So SigNoz is an open source alternative to Datadog. We help developers monitor applications and troubleshoot problems. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
like this.
Yeah. So we're part of YC's last March batch. Launched the product publicly in February last year. So still pretty early, like we're around 12 months old now since we have launched this publicly. Like we are at around, like as you can see, like 5,800 plus GitHub stars. We have 600 plus members in a Slack community. So we have seen some decent response from the community till now. And what I primarily wanted to talk to you was around open source marketing and community building, because
Gotcha.
you have so much experience in that. Should I also tell you a bit about like what we do? Like, would that help? Or
I feel like I kind of get open source Datadog, but probably there's some things that I don't really understand. I've heard a lot of buzz about open telemetry. I don't really like, as far as I understand, actually the really hard part is that you kind of have to build a custom database to ingest all this metrics. So I don't really know basically what goes on in the back end. I just know about it from the user perspective.
Yeah, so basically we use, if you have heard of open telemetry is the library which we use for instrumentation. So we don't work on that part. Primarily, we work on the backend ingestion part and the visualization part. So once you have ingested your metrics and traces to us, right? Like through open telemetry to us. So we use ClickHouse as the data store. And then we have a backend service which is built in Go, and our like the visualization front end is in React. So that's primarily the stack. And what we take care primarily of is the storage part, the visualization part, and like the backend service which handles the scales, etc. So
got it. And why do you what made you start working on something like this? Like, I always like to know a bit about the origin story.
So this started with my own problem. Like I was product lead at a startup here in India, and like the engineering team was working with me, and this was a big problem for us always, that hey, like whenever something used to break, we have to like sit down and try to understand like why things are breaking. And we didn't really use things like Datadog, because one, that was very costly for us for that startup, and the fear was that Datadog's cost will keep on increasing, right? And the only alternative at that time was Prometheus stack. So we're trying to do something like that, but problem was that Prometheus only does metrics. So it doesn't give you details on like if something goes wrong, you get like some alerts. How do you dig deeper into that? So that's what Datadog does basically. That it's a complete APM rather than just metrics. And then like even for implementing Prometheus, we didn't have like engineers who had like specific knowledge, right? So that's what we wanted to build, a complete like sort of complete APM as a solution, which is like very focused on user experience. People can get started very easily, and like not just metrics, but like once you get metrics alerts, how do you deep dive into traces and even logs?
Got it. Okay, got it. So what is so right now people are you doing any hosting at all, or is everyone self-hosted?
No, everyone is self-hosted as of now.
Got it. And you're presumably going to start spinning up a hosting business soon or something, like a
like we have plans.
How do you make money?
6 to 8 months hosting business, and even like enterprise product. Like we want to follow an open core model similar to what like folks like HashiCorp have done. So both enterprise products and then hosting services. But as of now,
as of now?
As of now, the primary focus is more on developer adoption. So and like getting inputs from the community on what works, and like sort of we have not started focusing on monetization yet.
Yeah. What metrics are you looking at for adoption other than stars?
So we use if the backend service is on, like how many people are keeping our instances live, and then retention of that.
I was also always pop this in for a look as well. I'm sure it's always growing. So this is the big launch day.
This is when we started trending on GitHub.
Ooh, yeah,
so we trended on GitHub for like a week, and that sort of gave us the huge bump. And after that, like we have been continuously increasing, but that was like the huge delta.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's nice when you can get it, but also, it's just stars, so doesn't
it's like though it like helps in getting some confidence from the contributors and like even the users, that they say like, oh, it's like 5,000 plus stars is fine, but it's like not the key metric. At least it gives some credibility to the product that, hey, like there's something.
Yes.
I think that's what it does.
For what it's worth, you have more stars than us. I think Temporal has like 3,000 stars.
I don't think stars are like really the main metric. I also,
we know
in one of your interviews that you don't want to focus on stars or something. I think in one of your YouTube videos you mentioned.
I mean, it's nice if you can get it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to say, hey, you must star us, or I don't think that.
So we have also not done any effort in doing this. It's just that GitHub someday we got lucky, and then we got like 200,000 bucks.
Exactly. Okay, I have one more question for you. Was YC helpful or not?
Yeah, YC was very helpful for us, especially because like our team is primarily based on India. So me and my co-founder are based out of India. YC helped us get lots of global exposure, and also sort of a brand that, hey, like if YC has funded us, then there's like something to look out for, right? Especially for like the US, like outside India users, because in India we have some like our networks where people know us, right? But outside India, it really helped us to build that brand.
Okay, so it's it opens doors for you, but since as far as I know, it was remote, right? Like, so there's no sort of in-person Tuesday meeting type thing, Tuesday dinner.
We were completely remote.
Okay, got it. All right, so I will not say that I'm an expert at the APM space. I am only, I've done a chat with Charity Majors from Honeycomb. We use Datadog, Prometheus, Grafana. Like I'm familiar with it as a user. I'm not really sure like if I can give you any deep insight, but I'm happy to try to work with you on any questions that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I have more broader questions around like the marketing and community building side of things. Maybe one question, because we have very similar like developer persona, like you also target backend developers and like infra developers, right? So one question was that, like, what are the channels works best for you in terms of attracting developers to the project? And second was more in terms of community building, that how do you think about community building, and in essence, like, why do you think people should join your community? So this is a question which we like think about a lot, that, hey, like, why should people join our community apart from like asking support questions or like contribution? So these are as of now, these are the two main sort of buckets which we have why people join our Slack community, but we don't have like members in the community helping other members in the community. So I think that's what I'm trying to figure out, that how we can enable that, right? Because that's where I think we'll unlock the real value of the community, rather than as of now it's just more of a contribution platform plus a support platform. Right? So, which is fine. Like, as of now we have like got some good insights, but I think we really can do much better at this. So that's where like primary two areas of questions.
I really like that. So first of all, no shame. I think a lot of communities start out as glorified support channels. And that's just how it is. And it takes a bit of effort to grow it. And I really like that you're very intentional about it. I will say that I'll say that like, this is not a way to, like, people, by the time people have decided to join your Slack, they're pretty serious about SigNoz, right? Like the acquisition of these people it probably comes from something else that you're doing out externally where they are already currently at, whether it's on Hacker News or Twitter or Reddit or whatever other forum that you find people with this problem. You can find them and you can participate in those communities before you bring them into your own. The other thing that I like to tell people about is kind of like think about like sort of the value propositions of community. So why do you join a community? I broke down a few. Are you the first place to know about something new that just happened in this industry? Like if I care a lot about hotel, if I care a lot about ClickHouse, if I care a lot about like the alternatives, right? Is this a place where I find out first? And that can be valuable, right? Because like then out of all the channels out there, as long as you're the best channel to go to, then I can just ignore all the other channels, right? So that's one thing. Status, do you give them some special feeling that like they are special in some way? Like are they recognized within the community as like an expert in that field? And if so, then they're going to stick around a bit more because they feel like, at least here I'm recognized, whereas others in other places, I'm a nobody, right?
So,
and obviously,
if they're helping some other member or they're like raising a PR or commenting an issue, then
no, that's an outcome of them being attached to your community. But this is literally like, are they recognized? Are they like a community champion or GitHub star? Or like,
but
not that
GitHub star because you did something, right? And then sort of GitHub recognized you that, hey, I have a GitHub star.
But as a result, I'm now sticking around in the GitHub stars community because it's an exclusive club. It's so stupid. But like humans are status monkeys, right? Like, so not that many people will be achieving status because that's the definition of status. But those that you can sort of award status to, they will be that much stickier. These are just like some of the value propositions. Other value propositions, insights. So, okay, it's fine not to be the first to know, but can you give insights that you cannot get anywhere else, right? Because you have superior experience or interesting perspective that can be independent of experience or correlated with experience. If people are...
Which of these have you like applied in like your own temporal community? And if you can give example of that, that would be no. Because I think I've read this blog, but how to exactly apply this, I think that's the question that if you can share any examples which you have did in temporal and how it worked for you for like, that would be great to hear.
Sure. So I haven't, I haven't played all of these, particularly status. We're still looking into establishing our champions program. But for example, news, I try to drop in. So this is the public temporal community, and sometimes we'll have like news about, I don't know, interesting discussion. Interesting pushback on temporal, and then like look at all the replies. It's just you never know, but sometimes like if you see some potential for like for the discussion to generate debate, it can really help. And one of my favorite examples actually is we had a discussion, I think Sidekick. So, let's see. Okay. So literally, like I was listening to a podcast and I heard about a nice race condition that was relevant to our community. So I took the transcript, I highlighted the section, and I posted it. I had 1, 2, 3, 4. There was a fifth guy who didn't show up here, but and we all started talking about it. And then I went and recorded a podcast. I just invited all of them to chat about it. So it's just the 5 of us just chatting about this issue and how it applies to temporal. Like I invited the host of the podcast who was talking about it to talk with the rest of us.
Oh, interesting.
And then we shared it with.
Which you are reading somewhere, or like hearing the podcast, and then you thought it's relevant, and then you posted here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I posted relevant notes. I let people catch up on it asynchronously. But just like basically I posted this, people engaged in the discussion, and then I tried to find a way to reward them for participating by giving them even more. But as a result of the participation in the community, I managed to also help to generate content out of it that we can use for marketing, because how many people watch this thing? A few hundred? 583. Okay. Not huge, but so like I spent 1 hour doing it.
The reward for this. Was the YouTube content the reward that, hey, like you provided these people who participated in the platform to like as a YouTube to appear in the YouTube? Was that the reward?
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care that much about being on our YouTube. They just care that they had this conversation, right?
Okay.
This dude works at Coinbase. This guy's our CEO. Like being part of this conversation and having this access is something they cannot get anywhere else. It's something they only get by being part of our community. And then, this is secondary. The fact that it's public, that they all agreed to be on camera, is icing for us. Like this could have been private as well. I don't, that is obviously not as good. But this lets us sort of secondary market to our community, to others, because I also mentioned that, this started in our Slack, right? So people will come and join our Slack if they're interested. And yes, actually some people did, because subsequently people came in and talked about it a little bit more. Stuff like that, So it's like a reward is like not really like, it's more like feedback. Like so often you have these really interesting problems at work that you have nobody to talk to about, just your coworkers. But like, it'd be nice to talk about it with experts in the community, or even people who have the same problem at other companies. There's just so much knowledge sharing that can happen.
So like according to you, people should join temporal community because you sort of provide platform for such people like backend developer or infra developers to discuss such problems. Is that the main reason? Like, what according to you is the main reason why people should join a temporal Slack?
I mean, currently the main reason is support as well. But we try to make our community into a bit more than support, right? So that's something that we're growing as well. I have other communities. So I have a paid community and I have a private community. So for example, this is my angel investing community, where we talk about finance, talk about stocks, talk about crypto, and a lot of it is just news. Sometimes there's jokes as well. So, don't forget that people like to have fun. And then we talk about deals. So these are all the live deals that we've been involved in, or that we've brought onto the platform. And then I have a paid community as well. So I don't know. Like, it's easier when the community starts off as nothing to do with the company, because then the only reason people are here is for the community. Right.
Yeah, but I think that's not the case for temporal, right? Like
exactly. So company-centric community, you kind of have to sort of squeeze in these opportunities, right? Like, hey, this is kind of work related. Let's talk about it. I mean, like, we have newsletters going on. We have a playlist. People just having fun, having a common area where we where we drop interesting related stuff to our ecosystem. And notice that like a lot of these like are not technically to do with temporal, but it's related. Like if you are in a job that uses temporal, you probably have other interests than temporal as well. So we should just connect with other users essentially.
But I would say
like this is one of our users like launching their tool, and we like to celebrate them and then give them feedback, right? So if like that's why like when someone launches something like this and takes the initiative to put their thing out there, I make sure I respond as fast as possible. Because then he knows the next time he launches something, he will come here. And other people can see that when they launch something here, I'll at least check it out and I'll at least support it.
But this is valuable only if like your community is a certain size, right? Because you are like 2000 plus, so people want eyeballs, and that's why they're launching here.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, but like,
works only if you're
you
like
have to,
only after you have like certain.
Exactly. So obviously community has a return to scale, and but if you if you wait until you have scale, then you'll never do anything.
Yeah. I got that.
But like you see, okay, you can give feedback without scale. You can give insights without scale. Like a lot of these, like just by yourself or by your core team, you can do a lot of these things without scale. And then as you add scale, you can even do humor without scale. But as you add opportunities, you add status, then yes, that will start growing. And obviously, all of them compound with extra scale as well.
All right. So if you say today, like I would guess still today 70% is support, right, for temporal community. Like the reason why people would want to join temporal. And but what you're working on for the next 30%? Like one thing is like this insights and platforms for people to express. Is that the main angle here? That if
we also do a lot of jobs. So people post their jobs here.
Okay.
And then like because it's a public Slack, it's a one of those free Slack channels. The nice thing to do is to then collect all of it into public jobs. So these are all the jobs that list temporal. So before I list them here, I actually ask them to add temporal to the job description.
So do they actually have earlier, or do you just ask to like
some of them have it by themselves, especially the more I give the more I tell people to add stuff, and the more social proof that we have, then the more self-driving it is. But in the initial stages, you have to ask them.
Okay, got it. So you can just ask that, hey, like if it's an infra job, can we ask like, hey, can you add SigNoz in this thing and then add it here? Like it's like apart from does that work, or like it should be?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're a bit lucky in that respect, in the sense that our tech is very core. For example, if you're working on Zoom, like nobody's gonna ask like must know how to use Zoom to JD. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's a bit tricky. Like, I think you can try, and you can kind of test your luck. We've definitely had people say no, so it's fine. you never know if you don't ask, right?
Got it. Hey, I think we just have 4 minutes left. I have like one question for you. I saw you have both Discourse and Slack, right?
Yeah.
And in your Slack, I saw that you're asking people to ask questions on Discourse.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about this? Like, so we also have started a Discourse, but we still think that Slack is like more responsive, and because we are not at a huge scale now, we can sort of respond to Slack.
Exactly.
But then which conversation do you want to have in Slack, and which conversation do you want to have in Discourse?
Yeah. Very judgment call. Very if it looks like the conversation is going to be very long, very technical, as in like every single message needs like a repro, needs like a very long sample code, and it's not gonna, and it's only bouncing back and forth a little bit, then we maybe try to send it to Slack, to Discourse. But if it can be resolved quickly in Slack with like one answer, then we'll just leave it in Slack. And then we'll make exceptions for big companies where we have private channels, because everything on Discord is public. Everything on this course is public.
Got it.
So private channels are for people who are self-hosting and are notable large companies that we still want to support anyway. So yeah, that is our primary way to reach them.
Got it. So if somebody comes to your Slack, public Slack, and asks you questions, and it seems that it'll be a like longer conversation, you ask them to post in Discourse.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not. I wouldn't say that it's like very objective or anything like that. Like we're still trying to figure it out, just like most people.
Okay. And when did you start like Discourse? Was it like very early in the journey, or like
Discourse?
You just started Discourse? Yeah.
Yeah, about maybe like start of 2021, something like that. Okay. So about one year, maybe a bit less than a year into the company.
Got it. Cool. Hey, I think we're already out of time, but like thanks for the conversation. I think it was really insightful. I'll try to implement your that suggestion of sharing news. So we always try to think about this, like what should our community stand for? And as of now, we don't really have a good answer apart from like support and like contributor, like
yeah. So there should hopefully be a bigger cause, because otherwise people feel like they're working for you for free, right? And you're a venture-backed company. Like, why should I, why should I answer other people's questions, or why, there should be hopefully a bigger cause. And so for example, for us, it's like we're making distributed systems more accessible to people, or we're making more reliable software. Those are sort of two sides of the same coin. But like, yeah, if you can try to find a cause that is bigger than yourself, I think that is easier to build a community around. And also you can find related topics that you can host conversations around as well. One more thing that I don't know if you saw, but I always use events as a strategy for community building, because are you aware of my views on community temperature?
Yeah, I saw you hot and cold, and then annealing. Exactly. Like it should be hot and cold, and then annealing.
Hopefully, it's not too fancy of a word, but I really believe in it. Like, so yeah, these are all event stuff. But the main idea is that forums are cold, right? Like the reason we have Slack is that forums can randomly upgrade into hot, right? Which is very nice. But you have to have this mix of hot and cold. Like if you give people an event together around every month, every few weeks, then your cold community also benefits. Like your Slack community also benefits from that. But also don't think just about your Slack. Like you have a community as open source contributors to your company, right? So have you come across the Airbyte Series B announcement?
Yeah.
Let's say, so you've seen those slides.
I have not seen the slide. I've just gone through that.
Okay. Yeah. Specifically, why I talk about Airbyte. Where's the slides? Oops. The deck. Yeah, there we go. I think you should study them. All right. This kind of community is not, sorry, I'm so sorry, a little bit, okay. So yes, they grew their Slack community, but they also grew code contributors, and then let's just ignore stars. But, don't forget that other than Slack, you can also try to encourage open source community as well. And then, the other metric I like to use, the other community building that I like to use is also Twitter. So Superbase is also really good at this. Yeah. Were you in the same batch as them?
No, we are one batch later, but I've talked to Paul, he's one batch.
So like memes are not really community, but at least they get attention. They get some notice, and then people just start to find out, like, okay, you make a lot of Postgres jokes. Like you're standing for Postgres. Like you're very positive Postgres. You're positive. You know, you like to make fun of computer errors. That's fine. But like, you see, like stuff like that. This is very on brand, and it like sticks in people's memory. And like, this is the very, very outermost tier of the community, which is like people who have never heard of you and like just need a very small hook to at least register your name and what you stand for. And then someday down the line, when they're interested, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of this before." You know, something I also internalized about my marketing side is I like this reference. So you know, I always think about community and marketing in the same as like different stages. Like marketing kind of feeds into community eventually. Like there's no point at which like there's no gate at which like you magically enter crossover from marketing to community, right? So they have to hear about you, and then they really get into you, and like at some point their friends start getting involved, and this is kind of how you really hook them, and that from here on out is community. So so for me, like it's all, you know, one and the same.
So you're saying like community, not just Slack, like think from like Twitter, even the people who are reading your blog, because they are the
outermost. Yeah.
And then they slowly, like maybe they're using you, or they're like pull request contributors or issues creators, and then they come to Slack. Like, yeah, that's
something like that. Sometimes they may go out of order, you know. Yeah. And speaking about blog, I always say that like, you know, if you got nothing else, you know, because like something I never said about this actually, I should probably put this in there, which is that content can sometimes be the minimum viable community. In other words, if you got nothing else, you got no news, no status, no insights. If you just had something, some blog post that was really good, and you told everybody the only way to discuss this blog post is coming to our Slack, and we'll you know, chat with the authors. They'll come in and talk to you about it.
But then that block needs to be like slightly debatable, right? Like there should be something like
some
opinion which is like not very like not every people agrees.
Well, it depends. I think you know, Fred Wilson, his blog comments are always super active, and I think it's just like they know that the only place to talk about, like, okay, the guy just blogged about this. The only place to talk about this post is here. View discussions. He used to have a
He used
to have discuss.
I used to follow his blogs, and like he used to comment.
He killed it. Okay, well, all right. Never mind then.
So now he's moving his comment community to Twitter, right?
That's kind of sad. That means, like, isn't he an investor in Discuss?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He is.
He turned it on, but he never said that he turned it off.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Oh well. Never mind. I'll try to find a better example, but I really think so, because I just see like all the the people who are influencers for a living, they all do this, right? They have their main channel for content, and then they have the content feeds into the community that they own, right?
So we write a decent number of blogs. Do you think that we should say that, hey, like if you want to discuss more on this blog, come to Slack? But that seems like too much to ask, right? Like I never join a Slack to like discuss a blog, for example.
You never know. You like not everyone is you, right? Like even though you write to solve your own interests, but there are other people who just like don't have the same network, don't have the same priorities as you, and like sometimes they just want to chat about it with you. And I think it's worth providing that avenue, especially if it costs very little. So like it's just like a one sentence shout out is fine. I don't think it's that much of a ask. But obviously, for the big ones, like we're talking about regular routine blog posts, like I think that's okay. For the big ones, maybe you can make more of an event about it. Like we'll be hosting a special chat with the author of this or the interviewee. If you want to ask live questions, come sign up here. Stuff like that. You know, you can size the call to action to the expected impact of the blog post.
Have you tried this for temporal? Has it worked?
For blog posts, not really, mostly because we haven't really figured out our blogging strategy. This is mostly because there's like 4 or 5 different opinions within the company about how to do this. So ironically, I have more control over my own blog than I have the company blog. But it is what it is. But for our series B, actually, so we had this, and then we said, like, because we knew that we would get like a 10x spike in the number of people visiting our site and all that. So we started creating intro sessions, and they just finished last week. The intro sessions. Let me show you the intro sessions. Intro sessions. Oh, I can't find them. Something like this, like basically like here's how you learn about temporal. We'll give you some like these are the ones that we canceled because they overflowed into the next one, because Calendly automatically rolls over your meetings. Very annoying. But anyway, so we let people sign up at the end, right? Like, so at least we converted them from cold to at least somewhat warm or hot.
Got it. And what works best for you today in terms of like top of the funnel, just like, or maybe views in terms of channels, like is Twitter the best? I'm not sure if you can say that, but maybe like whatever you can
money. Just if you need more attention, go and raise another round.
No, just in terms of like channels, right? Not in terms of like events, but in terms of channels, like does Twitter works the most, or like the blogs are the main?
No, it's not Twitter. I think it's conference talks, actually.
Oh, interesting. So
because we don't care about raw reach. We don't care about like numerical reach. We care about reaching high value users that are very targeted. Because let's say there's only like 10,000 people in the world that really need us. Obviously, we are trying to grow that number, but let's say right now it's 10,000. We need to find that 10,000 more than we need to find like 1 million general developers out there who doesn't matter. It would be a waste of time. So we need to really target them. And the way that we target them is we are present in all the industry conversations about our topics, our relevant topics. So the whole company was started based off 2 talks.
All right.
So if you want to see which one they are, like they're not even like that amazing, but there's this one, which is in 2017, which got a lot of interest. Which is like, you see, like not huge, and on some random person's personal account. And then more recently we did this one, which we did invest a bit more time into it. Obviously now we're doing a lot more podcasts, but this one as well. Any sort of highly targeted industry conference, I think it's relevant. But now we're in a different stage. Now we're looking towards hosting our own conference and becoming the conference that other people come to launch their stuff. So I'll say that, like, fortunately we're at a different stage where we don't have to reach out as much anymore.
Got it. But in the earlier days, like being in the conferences which talked about you, but this would be in the time of Zoom, right? Like mostly the conferences would be online where you would.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so I don't know if you know the background, but Temporal was an open source project for 4 years before the company was started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Got it. Cool. Hey, I think we are already a bit out of time. So
yes.
But this is very insightful. Thanks a lot. I think I have really got some like action points on which we can work on.
Okay. Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, look, like what you're doing is hard, and you've already had very good success. So I'm just happy to help. I'm hoping to be a founder someday as well. So I'm practicing with helping while before I actually do the thing.
Nice. Cool. So thanks a lot. Will you be sharing this recording publicly?
Yes.
Or like, okay. So cool. So just send me the link whenever you do. I would be happy to go through. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Pranay. Take care.